Can help me, yeah? I'm trying to get the sound on.
En mag die Here ons die krag en die troos gee wat ons nodig het. Ons is volgende hier saam om saam te dink aan die lewe van Dirk Coetzee. En saam te luister na wat die Here vir ons gaan sê en dat hy ons die krag en die troos gaan gee wat ons nodig het. Kom ons begin deur die Here te vra om ons te sien. Ons Vader, ons is saam rondom u woord, ons het 'n begeerte om u stem te hoor, ons het 'n begeerte om deur u getroos te word en versterk te word.
You can listen.
Here, u ken elkeen wat vanoggend hier saam is. U ken elkeen se hart, elkeen se gemoedstemming. U weet wat ons elkeen nodig het. Gee aan ons elkeen dit wat ons nodig het. U krag en u troos. En mag die naam verheerlik word in ons saamwees vanoggend. Ons Vader in Jesus naam. Ja, ek het vergeet om te sê welkom aan almal. En ook die mense wat oor die internet stream, baie welkom. To all those people abroad who are most welcome to join in and participate in this sermon. this gathering. Ek wil heel eers sê vir Louis, suster, en die ander familie, baie sterkte vir julle. Ek weet, daar's nou 'n leefplek in julle lewe. En daai leefplek gaan vir 'n lang tyd daar wees. En ons vertrou die Here dat hy self daai leefplek sal volmaak in julle lewe. En daai berusting bring, daai tevredenheid. Mag die Here ons seën. Ek wil vanoggend vir ons lees uit die woord van die Here. Maar wat ek nou dadelik sê, dit gaan eintlik nie oor die woord van die Here nie, dit gaan oor die Here van die woord. Want dis die Here wat met ons praat deur sy woord, deur die Bybel. Die Bybel is nie maar net 'n boek nie. Dis die plek waar ons die stem van die Here hoor. En die Here alleen kan vir ons daai troos gee wat geen mens kan gee nie, wat net hy kan gee. En mag ons elkeen vanoggend die stem van die Here hoor en versterk word daarmee. Nou ek gaan twee gedeeltes lees. Julle weet, as die Bybel praat oor die heengaan van 'n geliefde mens, dan noem die Bybel twee dinge. Die eerste een is 'n harde waarheid. Die Bybel sê sy plek is nou leeg. En die tweede een is 'n troostvolle waarheid. Al is hy weg, weet ons presies waar hy is. En nou gaan ek twee skrifgedeeltes lees. En ons gaan kyk na hierdie twee sake. En dit is nodig dat ons kennis neem van albei hierdie waarhede. Want dit is die manier waarop die Here ons by die hand vat en die Here ons lei deur hierdie tyd. Sodat hierdie tyd van droefheid ons nie gaan breek nie, of van ons negatiewe mense gaan maak nie. Maar dat hierdie tyd van droefheid vir ons 'n versterkende tyd gaan wees, en dat ons aan die ander kant sterker gaan uitkom. En daarom kyk ons na hierdie twee gedeeltes nou. Die eerste gedeelte wat ek lees is uit Psalm 103. Vers 13, Psalm 103, vers 13. Soos 'n vader hom ontferm oor sy kinders, so ontferm die Here hom oor die wat hom vrees. Hy weet waarvan ons gemaak is. Hy hou in gedagte dat ons stof is. Die mens, sy lewensduur is soos die van gras, soos die van 'n veldblom wat oopgaan. En as die woestynwind daaroor waai, is dit weg. En sy plek is vir altyd leeg. Nou hierdie is harde woorde. 'n Mens wil dit nie graag hoor. Maar weet jy, dis een van die gesondste dinge wat 'n mens kan doen om te sê, ek weet, sy plek is nou leeg. Ek aanvaar dat ons hom hier op aarde nooit weer gaan sien. Ek maak vrede daarmee. Ek probeer nie in my gedagtes om heeltyd vashou en terughou nie. Want as ek dit doen, dan rek ek net die spanning in myself, rek ek net uit. En dit gaan op 'n punt kom waar dit vir my te veel raak. En daarom gebruik die Bybel hierdie beeld. Die Bybel sê, dink aan 'n veldblom. Nou goed, kom ons dink aan die wêreld waarin die Nuwe Testament geskryf is. Dit is 'n woestynagtige wêreld. Maar onder die grond is daar sulke bolplante. En jy sien hom nie altyd nie. Jy weet nie waar hy is nie, maar as daar 'n bietjie reën geval het en die tyd is reg, dan kom daar 'n plantjie uit en hy maak 'n pragtige blom. En daar staan die blom. Verrukkelijk mooi. maar hy staan nie vir lank nie. Dan kom daar 'n warm woestynwind en hy skroei die ou blommetjie en hy krimp in mekaar. En die volgende dag kom jy en jy sien dit is weg. En jy kan nie eers sien waar het hy gestaan nie. Jy kan nie eers die plek aandui nie, want daar's niks. Sy plek is nou leeg. Nou sê die Bybel, so is dit met 'n mens ook. Vir 'n tyd blom hy pragtig. En hier kan ons dink aan Dirk Coetzee se lewe. Hy was 'n man wat geblom het. Hy was 'n man wat baie vriende gehad het. Hy was 'n man wat behulpsaam was. Hy was 'n bekende figuur. 'n Mooi blom. En toe skielik het daai warm woestynwind gekom en gewaai en hom weggevat. En nou is sy plek leeg. Dis 'n harde waarheid. Want die Here sou dit nie vir ons sê as dit nie vir ons was om dit te besef. En die Here weet wat is vir ons goed en reg. Dis asof die Here sê, aanvaar wat gebeur. Moenie maak asof dit nie gebeur het. Die beste manier om hier deur te kom is om te sê, die Here het 'n warm woestynwind gestuur. En die Here het die pragtige blom weggeneem. En nou sy plek leeg. Hoe vaar dit? Hoe sal hom op aarde nooit weer sien? En nou eindig die Bybel nie hier nie. Want die Bybel wil eintlik begin met die troos kom. En nou staan daar, as die woestynwind daaroor waai, is dit weg en sy plek is vir altyd leeg. Dit sê vir ons, sy plek was maar net 'n tydelike plek, kortstondig. Daai veld blom vir 'n dag of 2, 3 en dan is hy weg. So is 'n mens se lewe eintlik ook. Maar 'n baie kort tyd, in vergelyking met die ewigheid, nie waar nie. Sy plek is vir altyd leeg. Maar, staan in die volgende vers, maar onverganklik is die liefde van die Here vir die wat hom dien. En nou kom ons by die tweede hoofsaak. En onthou ook gesê, die Bybel leer ons 2 dinge. Die een is hierdie harde waarheid, sy plek is leeg. Maar nou kom ons by die tweede deel. En ek wil hier vir ons 'n gedeelte lees uit die Nuwe Testament. 1 Tessalonisense 4. Dit is daai bekende gedeelte van vers 13 af. Hier staan, ons wil hê broers, dat julle nie onkundig moet wees oor wat met die ontslapenis gaan gebeur nie. Dan sal julle ook nie treur nie, soos die ander mense wat geen hoop het nie. Ons glo immers dat Jesus gesterwe en ook opgestaan het. Net so glo ons dat God saam met Jesus, die wat in hom geslaap het, ontslaap het en in hom geglo het, na hom toe sal neem. Aan die einde van hierdie gedeelte staan daar, troos mekaar dan met hierdie woorde. Hier staan, ons moet nie onkundig wees oor wat in die ontslapenis gebeur nie. Ons moet weet, en ons kan ook weet, ons is nie in die duister nie. En as mens weet wat met Dirk Coetzee gebeur het, na sy heemgaan, dan is dit die manier waarop die Here ons troos en vir ons krag gee. En nou staan daar, as ons weet wat met die ontslapenis gebeur, dan sal ons nie treur soos die ander wat geen hoop het nie. Kyk, ons treur. Ons almal treur, dit kan nie anders nie. Maar daar is 'n verskil tussen 2 groepe mense. Die een groep treur, maar hulle het geen hoop nie. Met ander woorde, daar is geen vooruitsig nie. Die ander groep treur, en dit is ons. En ons het hoop. En hierdie hoop beteken, ons weet, eendag sal ons almal saam by die Here wees, en dan sal ons mekaar weer sien. En dit is hierdie hoop wat vir ons bemoediging gee, om te aanvaar en vorentoe te gaan, en te lewe soos die Here dit wil hê. En dan staan daar hierdie hoop. Waarin is dit gegrond? Waarop is dit gebaseer? En dan staan daar, ons glo immers dat Jesus gesterf het. Nou kyk mooi wat sê die Bybel hier vir ons. Jesus het gesterf. En dit is so. Hy het aan die kruis gesterf. Sy eie vader het hom verlaat. Hy was daar vir 3 ure lang alleen gewees. Geestelik van sy vader verlaat. Hy het gesterf. Net daarna word gepraat van 'n gelowige. En dan staan daar nie die gelowige wat gesterf het nie, maar daar staan die gelowige wat in Jesus ontslaap het. Jy sien nie word 'n ander woord gebruik. Ontslaap. Dit is maar net soos 'n slaap, dat mens ingaan en dan word jy weer wakker. En dan kom jy aan die kant uit. En op grond hiervan kan ons vandag vir mekaar sê, en ek sê dit vir julle, omdat die Here dit vir ons sê. Dirk Coetzee het nie gesterf nie. Jesus het gesterf, ja. Maar Dirk Coetzee het net ontslaap. Hy het net deurgegaan na 'n ewige hiernamaals. En dan staan daar, net so glo ons ook, dat God saam met Jesus die ontslapenis na hom toe sal neem. Onthou in die begin sal jy moenie onkundig wees nie. Nou, hier word die kennis aan ons gegee, die kundigheid. En hier staan, God het hom na hom toe geneem. God het vir Dirk Coetzee na hom toe geneem, hy wat die Vader is. En dan gaan die gedeelte aan, dan staan daar, en eendag sal ons almal saam by die Vader wees. Is dit nie 'n geweldige hoop wat ons het? Iets waarna ons kan uitsien, kan verlang. Hoewel ons moet weet, dit sal onder heel ander omstandighede wees, né? Dan sluit die gedeelte af met troos mekaar dan met hierdie woorde. So kom die Here vandag en hy gee aan ons troos wat net hy kan gee. Wat ek nie kan gee nie, wat geen mens kan gee. I just want to say something in English for the English-speaking people. When the Lord takes us by the hand and leads us through this valley of darkness, He tells us 2 things. The first is remember His place He's not here with us anymore. Accept it and carry on with your life. But then the second thing that the Lord tells us in His Word is that Dirk Coetzee didn't die. He just passed away and he just passed through the death and he woke up on the other side like going to sleep. And the next morning you wake up again. Then the great truth, and God has taken him to Himself, to the Lord. One day all of us will be together in the Lord, and we will see each other again, although the circumstances will be quite different. Then this portion in 1 Thessalonians 4 concludes by saying, comfort each other with this truth. And in this way, God is comforting us through His Word, by the truth. Mag die Here deur die Heilige Gees hierdie waarheid in ons elkeen se harte diep wegberg, sodat ons daarby sal leef Ons Vader, dankie vir u woord. Dankie dat ons u stem kon hoor. Dankie dat ons kan vrede vind in die wete dat u vir Dirk-Coetzee geneem het. En al is die plek vir ons, sy plek vir ons leeg, en al bring dit soveel hartseer en verlange, weet ons dat waar hy nou is, dit vir hom by verre die beste is. En daarom bid ons, Here, dat u ons geloof sal sterk maak. En dat ons sal besef dat Dirk-Coetzee nie gesterf het nie, maar dat hy net deurgegaan het na die ewige hiernamaals. Vader, ek bid dat u kinders, kleinkinders, broers en susters, familie, vriende, almal wat naby aan Dirk was, dat u sal troos met die evangelie van Jesus Christus. En seën ons dan nou, as ons verder gaan met ons verrigtinge. Ons vra dit alles alleen in Jesus naam. Amen. Ons gee nou geleentheid vir 'n skryfreeks ter herinnering aan Dirk-Coetzee. Asseblief.
Lay your head on me as I fall to sleep. Put your arms around me, stay here with my sleep. We're the key ones, only just begun. Love is leads to love. We're the key ones, till your eyes can see. I'll be all you need. So hand in mine, stay here by my side. We're the key ones, only just begun. But it leads to love. We're the key ones. Promise me my life is perfectly, perfect, just like you are meant to be. And all tomorrow I'll be your secret. Be mine. You. We're the lucky ones, only just begun. Oh, let's leave people so young. We are the lucky ones. We are the lucky ones.
Dan sê jy, baie dankie. Dus kyk na die skryfreeks en jy besef iets van 'n vollewe, wat vriende gehad het, wat die lewe geniet het, nie waar nie. Goed, Louis, as jy reg is, as jy sê asseblief.
Sorry. yeah, now we have to live in a new normal. He was always there when you get home, was there. When you go to work, he was there. Always getting a story, what's going to the news, what's today's new thing, what Trump said, so he was always involved with everything. Just a few things about Dad when I grew up. One of the first things I can remember, he used to take me to a place called the Soppies. It used to be a bicycle. When you walk up you pay the gate and you walk up and you watch 2 movies and they play the whole movies, the whole time over and over. And everybody always knew it because and he loved taking it. It was a kung fu movie and then a good movie. But he loved taking me there. And one of the other great memories I have is me, my opa Sampi, right, and my dad always loved going to the dumps. Go scrounge stuff, see what people throw away and scrounge stuff and fix it up and then sell it again. I can remember the one day we were living in Malvern. I think a lot of my family at one stage lived in Malvern. And we picked up an old Cortina bucket. And the guy wanted the engine that we could have the rest of the Cortina bucket. And so they cut off the front part and him and Brian my other part. And we made a train out of that thing. And we used that train for that 4 Cortina bags out of that train. We go camping, the Cortina trailer, we go. And my dad was always a person to help everybody. You know, he was never, if anybody needed help, he was always there. You needed a spare, or that would say, you will organize your spare. You needed a tow, he will come and tow you. If you needed a lift, he would come and give you a lift. He was always helpful, he always, even, with us. He couldn't even walk alone anymore, but he used to help cutting grass and weed eat and everything. He was just that kind of person that was here for everybody. And it's going to be nothing's going to be normal for us, and it's going to be something straight. He was part of our family unit. Every decision we made he was involved. And I know he complained about our last diet a little bit. He was part of the high protein diet, and he didn't always like eating only meat. So, we're trying to give him vegetables up. We're going to miss him these last days. Actually, 3 days before he passed, he had actually an awesome day. And because he couldn't speak, but he was very delusional, but that day, he spoke to people in the hospital room saying he just sold pathways. They couldn't fit battery into a tractor and he had to organize a new battery. Then he made a phone call and the whole day he was talking and selling spares. And I know this is going to be a little blasphemous, but when I walked into the hospital, he says to me, God, Louis, gee my 'n soen. And that was my dad. And also with the nurses, I think he had something because they say he was a very feisty patient. And we came, and I think he thought we were nurses. So he says, Ulla, I dare you. So actually, it's such a good privilege to be with him in these last days and just be there out in the water. And he takes a sip of water and he spoons. That's what they're on. He says, he was good. I got such good reviews from my dad, and I'm really missing him. And I'm just thanking for all the family and friends and his corporate people. And I know he loved them a lot because that was one of his Saturday things, was his favorite things to go to the corporate side and selling his goods. So thank you for everybody that's been there. I really, really appreciate it.
Enige iemand anders wat nog iets moet zeggen, herinneren, onderblijven? Niemand niet?
Hi everybody, and welcome to Duke's Memorial and to our family watching. Auntie Gina from America, Salome from Dubai, Fleury from Mauritius,
Joe from Ireland.
and from Ireland, and Victoria, and Durban. They would all love to have been here. And, the aunts, my mom's 3 remaining sisters, Auntie Gina, Auntie Ellen, Auntie Maury, all wish they are here in spirit. And our cousins and his grandchildren, they all will miss him. Everybody will miss him. Because he was so special, so unique, the most giving person. He was nothing too much for that to do, if whatever you needed help with what he was doing, he tried. He left, said to Hetty, "Ek ry." And then she would find out later we had to go and help. He was a very unique person. I met him when I was 8 years old, and my sister was 11. No, she was 10. And we grew up next to him. And eventually, we were up here, and he must stay down here, And when he married my mom, we said, we're going to call you Dad now. He says, "No, I'm Uncle Dirk. I'm Uncle Dirk. Don't call me Dad." See, actually Dad. Very special person, very unique. He took us camping. We had the minimal stuff. We had this little, smallest of cars that was, the roof packs were stacked to the top with the tents and the plastic packets and the food and the boxes, and camped, and the old dam was empty, very empty, and we had no water. And then Mom and I and Louise would sleep to the hotels, and then they'd keep caving, and we'd keep caving, and we could shower quickly and sneak out there with bottles of water. Then we came next to the wall dam, and the wind came up and lifted the whole tent, caravan over, people's tents were going, we're hanging on for dear life. Oh, we had the most wonderful memories with Uncle Dirk, The first time, also we just met him, Louise and I in boarding school in Burville. So he had come to some green car, puffing along, the windscreens on the back seat, because the car had rolled. And they just gathered what they could, put it on the back seat, and they made it to the boarding school, treated us with little snacks, and but they did make it safely back to Joburg, and he got his windscreen back, and the bits and pieces. He did sacrifice a lot to look after Louise and myself. We caught the train from Durban up to Pretoria, school holidays, us 7 girls, and Uncle Dirk was there to meet us. He was a very special person. Frustrated a lot of us lots of times, but he had a good soul. He was kind, and as Louis says, if you needed something, that would help you. If you were stuck on the road, he'd come and tell you. It doesn't matter where you were. Unique and special. And he will always have a dad place in my heart. He loved my mom. He had an amazing son. And he's my brother. He's not my half brother, he's my brother. And I'm so thankful for you. And for everything that you and Corin and the girls, for opening your homes to him. He had no better place that he could spend his last days with. It's frustrating, I know. It's difficult to have somebody that you're responsible for, but he would have been in no other place. You would have not wanted him anywhere else. And to the Free Market team, thank you for making those days of his life special, because that was special for him. And he always used to speak highly of you guys. And I'm honoured to have met you all and know that you played a part in his life. And of course his family, he loved you guys dearly. And we grew up with the Kutsias. We were there, Kutsias were there, and we grew, the Kutsias were there. we finally said that it was Kutsias, but thank you very much for being wonderful siblings to him. And and I want to thank my two cousins at the back, Bernice and Marty, for coming. It means so much to us. We represent the rest of the family as well. So thank you guys. And to Pastor Wilmy, bye Donkey. And it's our special. So, he was not here. Okay. And all right, so that's my speech. Now I'm going to say all the thank yous and the appreciations. Ruby and Corin and myself and the girls would like to say a special thank you to the Gordons Bay medical team for the transport from Dad to the Albert Hospital from their home. That was the first of this is really happening. To the emergency room staff, the friendly and the professional service. Because without those kind of people, and if they don't treat their parents well, it leaves a scar, and they prevented that. The personnel in A ward were taking good care of Dad and keeping him comfortable. I wasn't here, but all I could hear was good things, positive things that helped heal the journey. To the doctors at Helderberg and the team that assisted caring for Dad, we tried their best, they said. But as doctors, they can't just come forward and they never took a step back and said, well, this is it, They tried their best and they did it with what they were meant to do. They had compassion and the care in the hospital, I believe, was better, top standard. And I'm blessed, I'm happy he was here. He wouldn't have got that in Pretoria. He wouldn't have. Because unfortunately, Gauteng do not care about people. You just come here and you left outside. You neglect it and you left your own devices. And the personnel at the Blue Crane for helping navigate the most trying and difficult time with ease and understanding. That alone is also such a big milestone that made it softer to bury Dad. And you can't have that position and not have a compassion for people. And that already is a big help. And of course, once again, Duncan. En verstaan of course, complex lewe. En dit was baie spesiaal, baie dankie. Jy woord is baie belangrik.
Thanks.
And of course, all the family and friends had phoned Louis and called and messaged, and for those who could visit Dad in hospital, thank you very much for all your thoughts and prayers. It did help carry and did help lift the spirits. And also a big thank you from Louis and Corin and myself, everybody for attending, and to the family that couldn't attend, thank you for being online, and for those who missed it, Rochelle's going to try and make sure we catch it up on YouTube. So, thank you very much, everybody. Me? Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else who would like to say something? Iemand? Kom ons sluit af en ons vra die Here ons sal seën. Ons Vader, ons bid dat U ons sal seën as ons nou hier uit mekaar uitgaan. Neem ons elkeen by die hand en lei ons op die regte paai. Lê ons harte, lê daai troos, daai krag, daai sekerheid, sodat ons as gelowige mense met 'n positiewe gesindheid van hier af sal verder gaan. Wees die deel van ons elkeen se lewe. Dat ons nooit alleen laat nie. en julle versterk ons langs die pad. Ons vra alles met groot vrymoedigheid in die naam van Jesus Christus ons Here. Amen. Dat is hy. Baie dankie. Baie dankie.
Okay, the age reflections through the doors and coffee and juice, something if you
Thank you.